Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Gordon-Conwell Domestic Student Scholarships webinar. My name is Karl Wacker, and I'm with our admissions office, and I'm joined here with Erica Giovanniello, who's the director of our partnership program, which we'll highlight in a moment. Before we get started, I just want to briefly explain how we'll be conducting the webinar. We're using the Zoom platform today, and for the duration of the webinar, our audio and video will be enabled. And we're going to keep yours disabled just for the convenience of everyone, but you're welcome to interact with us via the chat feature, which you'll find at the bottom. So if you have any questions, at the end we'll have Q&A, but you can go ahead and start asking your questions through the chat column as we go. I have a note here saying our audio is not currently working. Are you able to try to join on your phone, Dan, and see if the audio is coming through on your end? Oh, there we go. Now it's good. I just got another message saying it's good. Okay, great. Sorry about that. So feel free to ask your questions through the chat, and then at the end of the webinar, we'll do some Q&A. Also, I just would like to emphasize that this webinar is specific to domestic students here at our Hamilton campus. So if you're an international student, we actually have a separate application process for separate scholarships, and that deadline was February 5th for fall 2019. So feel free to send us an email, and we would love to get you more information about that. But these scholarships that we're going to cover are specific to U.S. citizens and permanent legal U.S. residents. So that being said, we're going to jump into the PowerPoint here. So let me just enable our screen share. And one moment here. Great. So we'll start with an overview first of our partnership program. So I'm going to hand it over to Erica. And Erica, would you please just give us a brief overview of what the partnership program is, and then we'll end with your contact information if anyone wants to follow up.
Sure, great. So the partnership program is the first of its kind opportunity where not only are you coming to seminary and graduating theologically well-equipped, through the partnership program you'll also be graduating well-equipped in biblical stewardship, as well as practical skill sets that will last a lifetime in ministry. Learning how to fundraise and being well-equipped in how to talk about all of that with your church. So the partnership program is an opportunity for a full tuition scholarship. It is a wonderful program where not only will you graduate less burdened by debt, enabling you to get into ministry quicker, especially if you're thinking about being a missionary. You can't even go on the mission field if you have debt. So Gordon-Conwell, this was our initiative to assist students to be able to get into ministry quicker. And you're building lifetime relationships. You're learning how to build and maintain them. There's so many wonderful components of the partnership program, too numerous to mention in this short time that I have to share. So please reach out to me at any point in time. I'd love to talk to you about more specifics and how they pertain to you. But in essence, the application due date is April 15th for the fall semester, and it's September 15th for the spring 2020 semester. So if you're interested, look on the web, reach out to me. I'd love to speak with you at any time. But yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. And yes, you will be learning how to do multiple things, including fundraising. So that in a very short nutshell is the partnership program. So, and the goals for fundraising, just in case if you're interested in that, it's $13,700 that you would be raising annually. How you raise that is really how God is raising up your team. There's no right and wrong way of doing it. So please know that there's so much flexibility in that. You could have multiple churches. You could have far more donors that can give in any denominational range that they would like to give. There's really no right or wrong way to raise support. So please know, I'd love to chat with you more about it, and reach out to me.
Yeah, and even if you're just interested, Erica's always willing to answer emails or schedule a phone call just to tell you a little bit more about the program. And we've had a lot of students come to Gordon-Conwell specifically because of the way God has provided through this program. So we encourage you to reach out if you're interested.
Yeah.
So Erica is going to actually duck out because she has another meeting, but feel free to reach out to her. Thank you, Erica.
Yes, thank you.
We are also joined, so we're going to let Stacey join the video here, by our Director of Financial Aid, Mr. Stacey Glidden. Stacey has been with Gordon-Conwell for a number of years and is a great member of our team. So he's going to be here in case we have specific questions that need to be addressed. And we're really grateful that you're here. So thanks, Stacey.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I forgot to switch over to the video, but you'll see Stacey at the end when we get to the Q&A. So, but he's here with us. So just a quick overview, we're going to cover a number of different scholarship opportunities. Almost all of these opportunities are relevant to students starting in the fall semester. So the next opportunity would be fall 2019. Just some quick statistics on our 2018-2019 academic year. We gave over 240 scholarships to 87% of our full-time students, and 52% of our Gordon-Conwell graduates left with no educational debt from their time here at Gordon-Conwell. We do understand and recognize that the financial component is an important piece for many people to consider. So we do the best that we can to try to help you meet your sense of calling by equipping you financially and by trying to help make seminary possible. And so we're going to go over some of those scholarship opportunities in this webinar, but I also want you to know at the outset that we're definitely here for you and would love to answer any additional questions that you have either now or later on via email. So just a quick overview of some of the specific scholarships. New this year, we've increased the presidential scholarship to a full tuition scholarship. This scholarship would be granted to up to 3 applicants of full-time study here at Gordon-Conwell. These applicants would be individuals who demonstrate exceptional promise for Christian leadership. Typically, we look for candidates that have strong leadership experience. They would have strong academic background, usually a 3.5 GPA or higher, and that they would have a history of strong Christian character with solid references. This scholarship, like almost all of the merit-based scholarships that we'll look at right now, is renewable for each year of study, provided that the student meets their academic criteria while they're a student here at Gordon-Conwell. This is the first of many merit scholarship opportunities that we're going to cover in this webinar. The deadline to apply for this would be February 15th, which we'll get to at the end. The next relevant program, one moment here, there we go, is the Douglas Pratt Scholarship. Dr. Pratt is a Gordon-Conwell alum who's the pastor of First Presbyterian Church in Bonita Springs. And for a number of years, his church has sponsored this special scholarship. It's granted to up to 2 applicants that are going to be full-time in the fall 19. Additionally, it is also a full tuition scholarship. And the ideal candidate would demonstrate exceptional promise as future pastors in the Reformed or Presbyterian traditions. Both male and female students are welcome to apply. Some of the main qualifications would be a call to pastoral ministry, a capacity to lead a large congregation, and a commitment to the local church. Our review board does a holistic overview of the applicant to try to determine who the best fit might be for this scholarship. One of the really unique aspects of the Pratt Scholarship specifically, not only is there the financial component of the full tuition scholarship, but there's also an educational component where recipients of the scholarship during their second year of their MDiv will get to go to First Presbyterian Church in Bonita Springs for a 2-week internship in January. This is fully paid for by the church, airfare, accommodations, food, and it gives you, as the recipient of the scholarship, the opportunity to be mentored and to engage in experiential learning in the life of a large church. So it's a really strong program, and I think the people that participate in it really walk away with a real richness to their experience. So we really encourage you to apply for that if you fit the criteria and you might be interested. It's also renewable for each year of study. and this would be the same February 15th deadline. A quick note, you're able to apply for up to 3 merit scholarships with the same set of essays in your application. So as you go, be thinking about which 3 you might want to apply for, because you are able to apply for up to 3 with the same application. The next program that we'll highlight is the Raymond and Priscilla Lee Urban Ministry Scholarship. Like the Pratt Scholarship, there's a financial component to this scholarship, but there's also additional components. This scholarship is granted to up to 1 applicant who's committing to full-time study in fall 19. We're looking for applicants that have a commitment to urban ministry. So if you feel called into urban ministry in a city context, or you have experience in that already, that might make you an ideal candidate to apply for this scholarship. Recipients of the Lee Scholarship are provided a housing stipend, and they're required to live in the city of Lynn, Massachusetts, where we would give you that housing stipend to be a part of the living learning environment in Lynn. So you could really enter into an urban context during your time at Gordon-Conwell. You would also be required to take at least 2 classes at our campus in Boston, Massachusetts, where we specialize in urban ministry, and could take more than that if that's a good fit for your interests and your sense of calling. The ideal candidate would have a passion for ministry in an urban context, some experience in racial or socio-economic reconciliation, and a strong academic background. 3.25 GPA would be preferred. So that's the Lee Scholarship. Our next scholarship is the Reverend Dr. Michael Haynes Scholarship. This scholarship is granted to up to 2 applicants, and the recipients would be African-American students who are committed to serving the local church. Dr. Michael Haynes is a longtime board member and pastor here in the Boston area. And the preference for this scholarship is given to MDiv students and those with a pastoral ministry calling. So ministry experience, therefore, is preferred, and we also have the same academic credentials that we prefer, a 3.25 GPA. The next scholarship is new this year, and this is our Latino or Latina Student Scholarship. It's $17,500 per year towards your tuition. It's granted to up to 2 applicants, and the recipients would be Latino or Latina students who are committed to serving the church. Ministry experience is preferred, and we would do a holistic review of both your scholarship application and your general application for admission. And the same GPA requirement would apply. So if you're interested in that, that's a brand new scholarship. We also do have a Hispanic Ministries program here at Gordon-Conwell, and you wouldn't be required to participate in that, but if you would like to, we have classes that are offered, and you could have an internship role with them as well, where you would be mentored by some of our Hispanic faculty and staff. So we'd encourage you to apply for that if you're interested. Finally, along a similar vein, we have the Multicultural Development Scholarship. This one's $17,500 annually, granted up to 2 applicants. These applicants would be African-American and or Latino-Latina students who are committed to serving the church. Ministry experience is preferred, and strong academic credentials, just like the other scholarships that we've mentioned, would also be preferred. Our next 3 scholarships we decided to lump together on this slide because they're very similar in many ways. The Keller, the Wilson, and the Wells scholarships are each $15,000 per year, each granted to up to 2 students that are committing to full-time study for the fall 2019. And each one varies depending on your particular sense of calling. If you feel like you're called to pastoral ministry, the Keller Scholarship would be the one for you. Tim Keller is a Gordon-Conwell alumnus and the longtime pastor of a church in New York City. It's very well known. So we named this scholarship after him in his honor. So this would be for students who feel called into pastoral ministry. Typically MDiv candidates, male and female, are welcome to apply for the Keller Scholarship. The next scholarship is named after J. Christie Wilson, who was a longtime missionary in Afghanistan and then later became a professor of world missions here at Gordon-Conwell. This scholarship is aimed at applicants who feel like they have a special call into world missions. So if you have experience in that, that would be helpful for your application, or especially if you feel called into world missions later in life. The Wilson Scholarship would be very applicable for you to apply to. And then finally, the Wells Scholarship is named after our longtime professor, David F. Wells, who's a notable evangelical theologian and author. This would be for individuals who feel called into teaching ministry in particular. So if you're interested in pursuing a PhD at some point, we would encourage you to apply for the Wells. The only unique thing about the Wells, we prefer a 3.5 GPA or higher for the Wells in comparison to the typical 3.25 that we look for because of that academic component to the Wells. So those three, similarly, the deadline would be February 15th to apply. So moving towards the end here of the overview of our merit scholarships, the next scholarship we offer is a scholarship for professional counselors. It's a $10,000 annually scholarship that's granted to up to 2 applicants who would demonstrate exceptional promise to counseling ministry. So we have a strong Masters of Arts in Counseling program here at Gordon-Conwell. That's a fully licensed and clinical program that's also informed by our theological commitments. It is KCREP accredited, and so you would be able to pursue licensure at any of the 50 states if you pursued this program and met the requirements. So this scholarship is granted to MACO applicants in particular. Qualifications would include a degree in sociology or psychology, a call to counseling in some capacity, and again, strong academic credentials. So if you're interested in pursuing the MACO, we encourage you to consider that scholarship. Next, the Military Chaplaincy Scholarship is also $10,000 per year, granted to up to 2 applicants. And this is aimed at applicants who demonstrate exceptional promise in serving as military chaplains. The qualifications would include being enrolled in some kind of chaplaincy program in some branch of the military, and also having strong academic credentials. If you've considered being a chaplain, we encourage you to reach out to our mentored ministry office, and we can give you the contact information for that in the chat or via email. They have a helpful document they've put together on the various requirements for applying for military chaplaincy across the different branches of our military. And if you were interested in pursuing that route, this would be a scholarship that you could apply for. Finally, we come to the THM discount. This is actually another brand new scholarship that we're offering. It's a $6,000 scholarship towards the THM. A THM is a 1-year capstone degree designed to be completed after the MDiv. And it's generally pursued by individuals who are interested in pursuing a PhD for further preparation or some sort of teaching ministry. This new THM discount will be granted to up to 5 applicants of full-time study for fall 2019. And you would need to demonstrate exceptional promise within the THM. And the qualifications would be obviously pursuing a THM and strong credentials in the program where you pursued your MDiv. So now we turn to the application procedures. And before we do that, I just want to remind everyone, I've seen one question come in through the chat feature, but we're getting closer to our Q&A time here in our webinar. So if you have questions that you'd like to be covered during the Q&A, feel free to start putting those in through the chat. And when we get to those in a few minutes, we can start working through what some of your questions might be. The application procedures, if you want to apply for the merit scholarships that we've just covered, go to the URL listed there, gordonconwell.edu/scholarships. You can also go on our website under future students and then scholarships. The application deadline is February 15th, 2019 for fall 2019 consideration. It's really important to note that both your scholarship application and your general Gordon-Conwell application for admission must be completed by February 15th in order to be considered. Not only does that mean your online application, but also all of your relevant application documents need to be submitted by February 15th, including your recommendations, essays, and transcripts. We would encourage you to go ahead and start that process now so you leave yourself ample time, and we would also appreciate that in our office because we do try to be quite firm with that February 15th deadline to be fair to all of our applicants. Once you apply, you'll be notified by by April 1st of any scholarship that you might have received. The amounts that you would receive would be based on an annual course load of 10 courses. So just bear that in mind as you think about the award amounts that we've covered in this presentation. And then this is an important point. These scholarships are not combinable with other Gordon-Conwell scholarships, with the exception of the Pierce program, which we'll turn to in a moment. So if you receive multiple scholarship offers, for example, if you receive an offer for the Graham, a merit scholarships, and then maybe even the partnership program, you would need to choose which scholarship is the best fit for you and then select just that one to be applied to your account. The only exception to that is our Pierce program. The Pierce Fellowship Program is a $1,500 per year scholarship program, and it's launched through our Pierce Center here for Spiritual Formation at our Hamilton campus. If you are part of the Pierce Fellowship Program, you would be tasked with launching a soul care group on campus here at our Hamilton campus. These soul care groups meet weekly or bi-weekly, and they're typically 3 to 5 people of the same gender. And the idea behind the soul care group is that you would have an opportunity just to sit and gather and talk about the state of your soul with one another. So it's not necessarily curriculum-based per se, because that's more so what we're doing in the classroom, but rather it's aimed at forming you spiritually into the image of Christ and giving you a space to be honest with people, however you're feeling and what God might be teaching you spiritually. And then you would have an opportunity to pray for one another. So if you apply for this program and you're accepted, you would be tasked with leading one of the groups. Even if you don't receive the scholarship, you're still welcome to join a group while you're here at Gordon-Conwell, and we would certainly encourage you to do that. The Pierce program is the only scholarship that we offer that can be combined with other scholarships that you might receive. So for example, if you were offered a merit scholarship and you were accepted into the Pierce program, then both of those award amounts could be added to your student account. The next special scholarship that I'd like to highlight is the Billy Graham Scholarship. This scholarship is unique in that you don't need to actually apply for it through the merit scholarship process. Rather, the Billy Graham Scholarship is named after one of our co-founders, Reverend Billy Graham, and it's given to the first 25 students to commit to full-time residential studies here at our Hamilton campus for the fall 2019 class. So as soon as you're accepted, you'll be issued the Billy Graham Scholarship paperwork. And once you submit the paperwork for the acceptance, submit your notification of intent form, and pay your matriculation fee and your scholarship acceptance fee, once those 4 documents have been submitted, at that point you would be reserved as a Billy Graham Scholarship recipient, and you would have this $8,000 per year annually scholarship. At that point, you could still apply for merit scholarships. And if you receive a merit scholarship at a later date, then the greater of the 2 awards would be applied to your account. So you can't have both. But this scholarship is first come, first serve. So if you're interested in Gordon-Conwell, we certainly encourage you to move through the application process quickly and reserve your spot because it is reserved to the first 25 students. Finally, another unique program that we have is this Institute for the Study of the Black Christian Experience. This is spearheaded by our Dean of Chapel, Dr. Emmett Price, who also teaches a number of classes here at Gordon-Conwell through the Institute. It's a 50% off tuition scholarship, and the ISBCE program accepts up to 5 scholars per year, pending on the number of applicants that we have, who have a commitment to study the Black Christian experience in the Americas and or have a commitment to racial reconciliation and racial relations. So if you feel like you're someone, male or female, that fits the criteria for the Institute, we encourage you to apply for that. The application is live. They have their own unique website, isbce.com. And I will say that Dr. Price is a really dynamic scholar and individual, and we have some really gifted individuals who have come to be a part of this program. And we certainly encourage you to apply if you feel like you might be a good fit, because we've had a lot of students who've really enjoyed it so far. So that's just a little bit about our special scholarships. Another category of financial aid are our ministry partnerships. If you're full-time staff with a number of different ministries here in the U.S., you can qualify, or internationally actually, if you're a U.S. citizen, you can qualify for one of our ministry partnerships, which are 40% off tuition or more, depending on the partnership with the ministry. So some of these organizations are the Pioneers, InterVarsity, Young Life, RUF, Navigators, Campus Ambassadors, Chi Alpha, Christian Union, Cru, or the Fellows Initiative. If you're full-time staff with any of these organizations, you're eligible for these ministry partners and would receive 40% or more off each class that you pursue here at our Hamilton campus. You would be able to study part-time and or online if desired and start working towards your degree. You would need to remain a full-time staff member of these organizations to qualify for the partnership discount, and a letter of verification from your supervisor would be required to verify your status with the ministry. The only exception to that is the Fellows Initiative. If there's anyone who's a part of the Fellows Initiative, new this year, we also are extending this partnership to alumni of the program. So if you're an alumni of the Fellows Initiative, you can also qualify for the partnership. Whereas the rest of our ministry partnerships, you would have to be currently full-time with the partnership, with the ministry rather, in order to qualify. That's also detailed on our website. So this is us. This is the admissions team. And if you have further questions, you're welcome to take down our contact information here. We're always available during our business hours over the phone with our 800 number, or you're welcome to send us an email, and we try to be as responsive as we can. I do see a few more questions that have come in, and so we're almost to the Q&A portion. So if you have any additional questions, please feel free to start putting those through, and we're going to handle those on a first come, first served basis here in a moment. But before we do that, I just want to introduce to you now Stacey, so you can now see Stacey on the video. Like I mentioned at the beginning, Stacey is our Director of Financial Aid. And so the various programs that I've highlighted are scholarship and ministry partnership, but we do have a few applicable financial aid specific resources. So I'm going to turn it over to him now so he can just briefly highlight what some of those options might be for you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and I appreciate this. As you can see, we have a lot of opportunities for scholarships here at Gordon-Conwell for you to apply to and help you through your financial process and getting through seminary. And most of our scholarships are awarded through the admissions process, and then once you come as a student, then you'll be dealing with the financial aid team and working with them to get that on for the future years. As you saw in the presentation, that many of these are renewable for the years as long as you're staying current with your program requirements. We'll send out a notice for you to renew that, and we'll get that on your account in the future years. In addition to this, you may be saying, well, okay, that's great, but I know that the cost is going to be more than that. Are there other opportunities? And I would refer you to the financial aid pages here at Gordon-Conwell. One particular link I want to direct you to would be funding from other sources. We have a lot of students that receive money from outside sources, outside Gordon-Conwell, whether it's from their home church, the church that they are attending here in the Boston area while they're here at the seminary, or denomination, or even just friends that they know that are supporting them through this process. So we know of a number of different scholarships, and we've placed them on the website that our students have received in the past, and there's application process that you can go through those organizations to be accepted, and we will take those funds once they're sent to us, and we'll apply them to your account. The eligibility for those scholarships does not impact the eligibility for the Gordon-Conwell scholarship. So you heard Karl mention that you have to choose one or the other, whether it's the Wells Scholarship or the Graham Scholarship. You have to choose one of those. If you get an outside scholarship from another organization or church, those do not come into play in the selection process for the Hamilton or the Gordon-Conwell scholarships at all. Also, I will let you know that we are a Title IV institution. We do have student loans available to you. I would prefer you didn't take the loans, because loans are something that they have to be paid back. And that can be something that will impact your ministry after you leave Gordon-Conwell. But at the same time, I know that the God who can provide on the front end is also the God who can provide on the tail end. So when you take out loans, I ask you to do so prayerfully and under the direction of where God is really leading you, to know exactly what and how to fund your education. Scholarships are there, federal loans are there, and we can help you through that. The links are on our website to fill out the FAFSA, to fill out the financial aid application. But again, I would caution you to just be careful with taking out loans, because they are something that do need to be paid back and can impact you later. But we are there to help you through that process if that's the direction that you want to move. So that's a lot of information there, and I could spend a few more hours talking to you, but definitely don't hesitate to reach out to the financial aid office. Karen Reek in the financial aid office, Donna Thornborn, and myself, we're able to help you through this process as you need to. So that's about it in a nutshell there, Carl.
That was great, Stacey. Thanks, I appreciate it.
No problem.
As Stacey was sharing, I went ahead and pulled up our website, and I showed you where you can access some of that information. Hopefully you all saw the funding for other sources there as well under future students. So at this time, we would like to open it up for Q&A. So any questions that you have, please just put them in the chat at the bottom, and we'll try to get to all of them as time allows. We do want to conclude the webinar by 1:45, just to be respectful of everyone's time. A frequent question that we've received in the chat and also in the lead up to this is pertaining to part-time scholarships. As you probably noticed in the presentation on merit scholarships, most of our scholarships are aimed at full-time students. However, pending board approval, we are in the process of hopefully launching a part-time scholarship that will be applicable for the fall 2019 year. That hasn't been officially announced yet, but it is something that we're moving towards because of the high demand for students who want to study part-time. So I don't think I'm eligible to share the amount yet, but is there anything else you would share about that? I
haven't, what you shared is what I've heard, and we're awaiting some final word here before we can give out more information. So if you are lacking something to pray about, that is something that you can pray about. It'd be an exciting opportunity, not only for our students, but for Gordon-Conwell and the staff to be able to share that with prospective students going forward.
So as soon as we have an update about the part-time scholarship, we'll send out an email and put it on our social media and so on. So be looking out for that, hopefully in the near future. Another question that we had was about just the timing of applying for the merit scholarships. So like I mentioned earlier, you would need to meet the February 15th deadline. Then after that, after you've submitted your merit scholarship application and all of your other documents, our committee will take at least 3 to 4 weeks to process those and make their decisions. So the earliest you would hear back would probably be the middle of March, but we give ourselves the buffer of April 1st as the very last date. And at that point, you'll hear for sure about whether or not you've been a recipient. So you might hear as soon as the middle of March, but you'll hear for sure about your application by April 1st. So that was a good question. Thank you for submitting that one. Another question that came through says, if you receive a scholarship that is less than full tuition, would you still be eligible for the partnership program? And I think that we've addressed that in that you can't qualify for 2 scholarships at once.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it's been set up. So if you're awarded the GRAM, which is less than the tuition, and awarded the partnership, you can definitely apply for the partnership, which I believe Erica said the deadline was April 15th, I believe.
That's right, for fall.
For the fall semester. So once you get notified from the admissions office what your scholarship eligibility or what you've been awarded, you'd still have some time to apply for the partnership program. If you're awarded the partnership program, then definitely that's the one to take, and to drop the other scholarship, in my example, the GRAM, and take the partnership, because that's the full tuition.
Yeah, and 2 more points about the partnership program that I think are helpful to note. Most of our scholarships, you probably noticed, are designed for the fall, students who are incoming in the fall. The partnership program is unique in that it can be started in the spring as well. The deadline for this spring has passed, but if the timing works out for you for spring 2020, you could apply for it at that point. It's also eligible to be applied for while you're a Gordon-Conwell student, whereas our merit scholarships you can only apply for as an incoming student. So you can't reapply later. However, if you come to Gordon-Conwell and reassess your finances and feel like the partnership program might be a good fit later on, you're welcome to apply for it as a current student, which is unique about the partnership program. So that was a good question. Thank you for submitting that one. We have another question that has come through about the partnership program. Regarding the partnership program, are there specifications and eligibility requirements? How selective is the program, and what percentage of students who apply are accepted? The main requirement for the partnership program, well, I would say the two main, you have to be a U.S. citizen or a permanent legal U.S. resident or green card holder. You would also need to have at least somewhat of a network that you can provide in your application of individuals and groups and churches that you feel like you could contact in order to reach out for funding, and that you could start to raise up a network of personal donors. That's probably the key factor in the committee's decision on who to accept into the program. However, that's not the only factor. They also do have a holistic set of requirements in looking at your application and your background. I don't think I can share specifics about how selective the program is or the percentage of students who are accepted. But I will say that we try to accept as many students as we can that are eligible and that are good fits, because we really do believe in this program. And not only would it allow you to hopefully graduate debt-free, but would provide you with valuable experiences in fundraising that would be useful in your ministry and your calling. So,
and I know that Erica is definitely willing to work with students and help them through the process. And so some of the question deals with details that Erica would definitely know, and encourage you to reach out to her and talk to her about the program requirements and all the ins and the outs and the details behind the scenes that she deals with on a daily basis, and that we usually point to her.
Yeah, she's the guru, and
yeah.
she's great to talk with. If you're considering the partnership, I would really encourage you to just reach out and have a conversation with her. And people have a lot of trepidation about, having to ask people for money and being a little overwhelmed. That's very normal. But I think people who reach out to Erica walk away feeling very encouraged about how doable the program really is, and about stories about how God has provided for other students. So definitely reach out. Another question, which is a great question, and I'm glad that someone has asked it. This student asked, they've applied for the spring semester, and they said, if I get accepted for this coming spring, does that mean that I won't be eligible for scholarships that are for the fall? This is a good question, because that is indeed true. You can only apply for merit-based scholarships if you're an incoming fall student. However, there is one main exception to that, and that is if you start online via our SimLink platform, which we haven't mentioned yet. We have a number of classes that can be completed online via SimLink, and you can learn more about that at gordonconwell.edu/SimLink. If you're a SimLink student, then you would still be eligible to apply for merit scholarships for the fall. However, once you become a residential student in the spring, then you would be unable to apply for merit scholarships for the fall, because it's only for new incoming residential students. So hopefully that distinction is clear. And another important point that I don't think I've mentioned yet, our merit scholarships are specifically designed for residential students. So you wouldn't be able to be full-time as a SimLink student and apply for merit scholarships. However, we have recently allowed the Billy Graham Scholarship to be applied to fully online SimLink students. So if you're interested in pursuing your degree online via SimLink, and you would be full-time, then we encourage you to apply. And if you're starting in the fall and you're one of the first 25 to commit, you could be a full-time online student and receive the Graham Scholarship specifically, which is helpful because we don't have a lot of scholarships currently for online students. Mm-hmm. So it looks like that's all of the questions that we've received through the chat. So if anyone has any more questions, we have time for a few more, and we certainly would like everyone to have their questions answered. Stacey, is there anything else that you feel like maybe we haven't covered as thoroughly, or that would be helpful for our visitors to know?
No, I think that there's a lot of opportunity, and there's you may be feeling overwhelmed or uncertain of the process, or making the step to going online and learning more about the seminary and specifically Gordon-Conwell. I would just encourage you to, if you have questions or concerns, pick up the phone, call the admissions office. If it's dealing with financial aid, call the financial aid office, call Erica. We want you to be comfortable with the decision that you're making. And we hope to make the process as easy and as simple for you, and so that you can understand it. And it sometimes can be overwhelming as you are going through the process. And we want to partner with you and walk with you through the process to get you to the place where you're comfortable in making a decision and moving forward with your seminary decisions. So don't hesitate to call.
Yeah, we would love to talk to you about it. And we have a number of student workers as well as the team whose pictures I showed you earlier that would love to build that relationship with you and help walk you through the process. So it's very well said. Thanks, Stacey. Well, it looks like we haven't received any additional questions. So I think we're going to go ahead and conclude our webinar on our domestic scholarships for fall 2019. So I would just like to say a big thank you to everyone who attended. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. I will say we're going to send out a link to the full video. So if you'd like to watch the video again later, we'll send that out hopefully early next week. Also, I'll go ahead and send out the PowerPoint as well. So if you want to review any of that at a later date, you can. So I'll send that out to everyone who's registered. And then let me just put our contact information back on the screen one more time so we can conclude with that. So thank you all for taking the time to join us. And we hope to be of assistance to you as you continue to discern God's calling for your life. So thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.